And I think writers should challenge themselves. Like, what's hard for you? Make yourself do that thing. Make yourself do it, even if you're scared of doing it.
When you were writing a story, what type of structure do you use most often?
Hero's journey. I use that structure probably the most because, again, it helps me kind of track the emotions of my character. What are they afraid of? What do they want? How do they have to kind of face that fear? I'm writing something now, and I decided to do something I should probably not have done, which is like, I'm gonna go free. I'm gonna try to just start writing this thing, and I just barfed it out, which is actually good for me because I need to actually do that because I tend to be over here in my left brain a lot, and so I barfed this thing out, and it's like 70 pages. I'm not even really sure what it is, except it is a detective themed thing. But I read through it again, and now I'm going, oh, okay. I think this is what it is. Like this one little part over here, that's where like the juice lies. And so now I'm taking that little juicy thing and going, okay, how can I sort of approach the rewrite with more of a map and a view to kind of now what I think it's about. And so usually I make a very loose outline. It's not detailed. It really just says kind of like the major action beats, like what happens in the inciting incident or the call to adventure and whether the person pushes away from it out of fear, and then what happens next to kind of pull them in. But I want to leave it kind of not detailed because then that leaves things for me to discover when I'm writing.
So is it harder for you to not be organized and invested in structure?
Yes, it's very hard for me to be free. That's why I think I gave myself that challenge of just, Pat, step away from the outline, step away
Put
from
the
the
outline
outline.
down.
And I needed to kind of just go blah, And when I did that, I actually found really interesting things happening that I didn't expect. And again, that's where I found that little spark that was like, oh, this is what it's about. So yeah, for me, and I think writers should challenge themselves. Like, what's hard for you? Make yourself do that thing. Make yourself do it, even if you're scared of doing it. Make yourself do it, and then get more comfortable with it because there's something in there that's scaring you, and that's good. You need to go there. You need to go into your own approach to the cave as a writer. So I work with a lot of people who are writing kind of memoir books. I work with authors as well. And a lot of the times they're like, I think I'm going to change this so that it's not about the person, so that and I'm like, you know what? This is your draft. No one's going to read it but you. Write every single thing that happened. Write the truth. Because if you're holding back, we're going to know that you're being untruthful with us. Now, after you get out this version where the truth is everything everybody did is on the page, then you can go back and modulate and figure out, but you have to tell the truth, And if you're writing a script that is based on experience and you find yourself going, I don't want to write that scene, you gotta go there. That's the scene. That's what your movie's about. And you're afraid to go there because there's something in there that you just don't want to look at yeah.
And so for a right-brained writer who's messy and chaotic and everything's sort of based on intuition, then what would scare them is probably structure, rules, numbered sequence,
Right. And I've worked with a lot of right-brained writers, and it's just a matter of, usually it's not like they do a 180 and suddenly become like, I have detailed outlines. Usually it's just getting them to a place that is comfortable for them to organize something so that they don't get lost in the weeds. Their right brain is their strength. It's like their superpower, but it can also lead them into the darkness and down tangents and out into the woods. And then they don't know how to get back. And oh my God, where's the flashlight? So, helping them find something that's comfortable in terms of organization, but not too detailed, and sometimes it's even just a matter of talking through the characters' emotional journey and how they change that gives them enough in their head to kind of guide their writing as they're writing. So maybe they don't even write an outline. They just kind of talk it through so that they kind of know where they're going, you know?
Wouldn't know anything about it.
Yeah. Is that your
I'm a right
kryptonite?
brain,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Tried and true, yeah.
Yeah. Check out The Hero's Journey.
Okay, yeah. I love the interview that Bill Moyers did with Joseph Campbell. It's
yes.
so excellent,
Yes.
and he just the two of them together were just a great team.
Oh yeah.
In terms of the interview.
Yeah, that's a great piece of. I'm so glad they recorded it.
Right.
For posterity.
Wouldn't you say that if writers and filmmakers follow these structures, that their films will be predictable? You know, that's often something we get in our comments.
Yes.
And well, this is why Hollywood produces, you know, these formulaic movies.
Yes. Yes. That's always the danger. That's always the danger. And you know when you're watching a formulaic movie, you know when you know exactly what's going to happen in the climax on 10 minutes in. You know that that movie is going to fulfill those expectations, right? So there's a couple of ways to approach that idea of cliche and predictability. If you're writing, you know, the predictability doesn't just lie along structure lines. It also lies along genre lines, that certain genres have conventions that become familiar patterns, right? And so the trick is to look at these forms, whether it's a structural form like The Hero's Journey or 3-act structure, as a form and not a formula, that it's just there to give you some landmarks to help work through, you know, the story with your character. And then if you're writing in a specific genre, you know, if I'm writing a horror movie and it doesn't have scary stuff in it, like that's going to be a failure. So I have to understand the genre I'm working in and what the expectations of my audience are. And I have to deliver that in a way that feels fresh. The audience is coming to your movie with expectations of the conventions of that genre. They're going to want to see in the romantic comedy the mistaken identity or the misheard thing or the kiss at the end or whatever. So how do you deliver those things without making them feel like boring and cliched and well trod, right? So that's your challenge as a writer, to either embrace the conventions and make them feel fresh or kind of subvert them. I just watched a movie last week. It's not a great movie, but it's good and it's very like lovely. The Mitchells versus the Machines on Netflix. It's an animated movie. And one thing they did at the ending, which I thought was really funny, is, you know, in the hero's journey, the way that they kind of combated this idea of like, and now this is going to happen, and now this is going to happen. What happens is, you know, in the hero's journey, in the climax, when you're facing off against the bad guy, it looks like you're going to die. Oh no, they died, but then they live. So what they did in the movie is they face the robots, you know, and the family's fighting and they beat the robots and it's like they destroy the bad guy and it's like, yay. But then the main character has fallen into this pit and the family gathers around. It's like, oh my God, Katie, no. And it looks like she's dead. And she just pops up and she goes, just kidding. They're mocking that story moment in the hero's journey. And so they're acknowledging it and they're making fun of it and we laugh. And so there's ways of embracing things at the same time that you're kind of like going, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know that that is that moment. I'm gonna have fun with it. So I think you have to kind of find your way toward originality, you know. And you know, some people say, you know, there's movies that don't, you know, embody some sort of 3-act structure, which is absolutely true. You know, there are films that are mini-plot or anti-plot, but the thing that people have to understand is that mini-plot and anti-plot are a response to arch-plot, which is 3-act structure. They are responses to the classical form, okay? So they take elements of 3-act structure and twist them and use them in different ways. So like in a mini-plot movie, you might get all the information, you might get all this information except what you're used to getting, in a normal movie. So they're messing with your expectations of information that you get about the character. Or the main character in the mini plot play or the anti-plot play or movie may not change, right? But the audience has a shift, has a transformation. So they're taking these elements and turning them around, and using them in different ways. But in order to do that successfully, you have to actually understand arch plot. So for those of you who are interested in like doing really cool, weird things with structure, like just learn what classical structure is, and then, think about how you're subverting it or playing with it or commenting on it, because that's where really interesting stuff starts to happen structurally in dramatic storytelling.
Can you think of a movie that does that?
Yeah, well, Tarantino does that all the time. Like he plays around with these conventions of, ways that we're normally used to seeing movies, and he just messes with them. He makes chapters, he flips time zones, people are commenting, we circle back, where are we? So he has a lot of fun with structure because he understands what he's playing with. If people are interested in Jim Jarmusch, also creates movies that are not the normal structure that we're used to. But these are people who are really doing like really cool experimental stuff, but they also understand movies, all kinds of movies. And that's why they're so successful breaking the rules and subverting, the conventions.
So yeah, so that old adage, before you can break the rules, you have to know the rules.
That's right. That's right. I believe that.